Folks, I am super duper bullish on the stock market. I am flipping flapjack and bullish. And in today's video, I want to get into details and go through a bunch of different stuff. We're going to go through a bunch of charts. We're going to go through a bunch of data today on why I am so dang bullish on the stock market. And before we get into all those details and all those charts and all those metrics and things like that, I thought, you know what? Let's just start out in the real world, because in this, let's call it the metaverse that we're in, which we're all in the metaverse, right? If you're online, you're basically in the metaverse. And if you watch TV, you're basically in the metaverse, right? And we're watching all this, and we watch CNBC, and we watch the stock market tank and tank and tank, and we're like, oh my gosh, it's got to be so bad out there in the real world, right? And so times like that make me say, you know what? Let me just go to the real world. And so I was like, let me go to the mall. And I know lots of you guys that are, do all your shopping online nowadays, you're like, wait, malls? They still exist? Like, that's still like a thing? Yeah, believe it or not, actually, physical malls where you go in person to stores, that actually still exists. So I go to the mall here today, okay? Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall. My wife went to Arrowhead Mall yesterday. She said it was insanely busy. We went to Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall, a little more high end. And, what I saw there was nothing short of the busiest I've ever seen that mall in my life. And that includes during usually Christmas time. This mall was ridiculous. I can't even explain how flippin' flapjack and busy. I'm like, wait a minute, based upon what I'm watching in the stock market play out right now, I would literally think we're in a massive recession right now. Like, no one must be spending money at businesses. Everybody's profits and revenues are going to go. Psh. And what I see in the real world is complete opposite of this. The Louis store had a line for the Louis store. And this is one of those things I'm like, wait a minute. Last year, I was told that the only reason the Louis store had a line was because everybody has stimulus money. I'm like, wait, there hasn't been any stimulus money for a long, long time. How's the Louis store still got line? Oh, you mean to tell me people actually have money out there in the world and they can actually afford to go to the Louis store? And so I'm like, that looks pretty darn busy. I look at the Gucci store. Gucci store has a nice line, and I went by these stores 45 minutes later, and the lines were even longer than they were before. And yes, people were buying stuff. This mall was absolutely a zoo. I couldn't even believe how busy it was. I'm like, this is ridiculous. The only thing I could find in this whole entire mall that wasn't busy, well, there's two places, okay? One, Lucid. They got a Lucid store. There literally wasn't one customer, not even one person in the Lucid place looking at the Lucid, essentially, okay? There was only workers in there, not even one person. So I didn't go in either, okay? By the way, Lucid, be interested to see what happens there. But yeah, that was not a busy place. So that, and the Peloton store, yes, the Peloton store. There was these two people in there when I went by. These two people, I think what they were looking for is actually they were looking for help on how to place their Peloton on Facebook Marketplace because they were trying to sell it, I believe, actually. So yeah, Lucid store was not busy in the Peloton store. Pretty much every other store was a zoo, though, including the Apple store, which was absolutely insane as well. And, I went in the Apple store. And, in Arizona, you don't have to wear a mask. But I went in the Apple store, and next thing you know, I got kicked out of there because I didn't wear a mask in there. And I guess there's like a company policy or whatever. You got to wear a mask in the Apple store. So they kicked me out, man. I was like, hey. So then I started fighting them. I was like, boom. And I hit the security guard. And then I'm just kidding, okay? They bullied me out of there. And I said, hey, the only person that can bully me is my friend Belly Boy. And if Belly Boy, he's the only one that can bully me. You guys can't bully me. So I politely walked out of the store. But yeah, anyway. So that mall was absolutely insane. So go to the real world sometime and you'll see it's ridiculous, okay? Now let's get into all the fun metrics, alrighty. So we actually want to start out with this video here today is there's this like notion, there's this belief, right? And I hear this, and I see it sometimes out there, and I'm like, geez, that's just very, very misinformed. And people, sometimes I'll see people say, oh, the stock market's been doing so amazing. It's been a beast. And I'm like, nah, just factually wrong. The only way that's right is if you take it from the bottom or the peak, where we were troughing at in March of 2020, which was the fastest stock market crash in the history of the stock market. And that's just completely ridiculous because that was a time period when there was the most fear pretty much there's ever been in the stock market during that time period. So outside of that, if you just look prior to Rona, for instance, the Dow was at 29K prior to Rona, right? We're at 34K here today. Think about this for a moment, right? Several years have passed during that time. You had trillions of dollars pumped out in the system, trillions. And it's not like that money just disappears, right? You create trillions of dollars in the system. Now that money could be tied up in real estate, into stocks, into bank accounts, savings accounts, into crypto, into businesses' balance sheets. It's not like you pump trillions of dollars out there and it's like, it's just all gone. That's not the way this works, right? So there's way more money in the system than we've ever had, and not just by a little bit, by a lot, okay? So you have trillions of dollars pumped, right? You have companies reporting record revenues all over the place. You have companies reporting record profitability all over the place. You have companies' balance sheets healthier than they've ever been before, and their income statements and their cash flows as well, but especially their balance sheets. And yet the stock market's done that. That's not good, okay? That's not good for 5K and when you have all that scenario. So no, the stock market has not been just amazing. If you look at the S&P 500, 3.2K roughly was where we were at prior to Rona. We're at like 4.3 right now, somewhere around there, 4,300. Once again, trillions of dollars pumped in the system, record profits, record revenues, companies' balance sheets healthier than they've ever been before. And that's all we've gotten out of this? Yeah, it hasn't been so darn amazing. The Russell, you want to see something even crazier? The Russell back in 2018 was over 1,700. Today we're at 2K on the Russell. Think about that for a moment. Think about all the progress and so many of those companies have made. They're healthier than they've ever been before. Their revenues are healthier than they've ever been before. Their profitability is healthier than it's ever been before. And the Russell has gone basically almost nowhere in that time. What, a 20% move in all those years? In all that time? In all that money pumped out there? So the fact is the stock market has not been on some boom cycle or something like that. The only way you can say the market's been on a boom cycle is if you're taking from the trough that we were at in March of 2020, which is absolutely ridiculous and you should not be looking at the stock market that way. Look at the stock market to where we were prior to Rona to where we are now, and you're going to find, oh wow, the stock market has not been doing amazing. It's been okay at best, but actually that's a pretty bad performance when you consider everything that's been going on positive out there, okay? Next thing I want to look at, S&P 600 small caps, a newest update out of Yardeni Research from the numbers there, right? So if we go back, we're the cheapest we've been in a decade, right? The last time we were at this period in any sort of normal economic activity moment was back in 2011, roughly, 2011, 2012. So we're trading the cheapest we have in the decade for the small caps. So a lot of the large haven't really moved that much, and the smalls are trading so insanely cheap, it's not even funny. And this is just one of many, many reasons why I'm so bullish on this market overall, okay? And if we go ahead and look at large caps, guess what? We finally have had a downward move in the large caps. And we're finally getting to ranges that you should expect large caps to trade at. Now, my hope is large caps will continue to increase their profitability, and this number will continue to come down and down and down and down, right? Now, if you could also have a lot of large caps continue to sell off while their profitability is going up, that would also be great news as well, okay? And so, nonetheless, this is good news. I love to see this here, okay? This is nothing short of extraordinary. This is absolutely nothing short of extraordinary when you consider that we're trading the cheapest in a decade, and you consider all the money that's been pumped out in there in the system. If anything, you would expect us to be up here right now. With all that money pumped, with all these companies reporting record revenues, their business is healthier than they've ever been before, balance sheets better than they've ever been before, you would think we would be trading up here. And to be trading at the cheapest in a decade, that's just crazy, okay? Absolutely crazy. No, if we go ahead and look at some of these large caps that are beast companies, look at something like PayPal, right? Think about this for a moment. This stock was $300 just a few months ago. 2021 was the best year in the history of PayPal. Best year without question. Look at every single number, best year ever, okay? 2022 is supposed to be actually a much better year for PayPal than in 2021. And so think about that for a moment. A company like PayPal, best year ever, expected to have even a much better year this year, maybe 15%, 20% revenue growth. We'll see where it shakes out. And yet that stock is trading the cheapest it's traded in a long, long time. And on valuation metrics, it's trading the cheapest it's ever traded. And just think about that for a moment. That's a type of market we're in right now that's just devastating these stocks. I mean, 103. That's just crazy. This stock with $300 not that dang long ago, coming off the best year they ever had, in 2022 is going to be a far better year than 2021 was for PayPal. And, even if you're bearish on the market, even if you're bearish, still can't deny the fact that 2022 will be a much better year for PayPal than 2021 was. That's crazy, okay? Look at this. You got to go back. Think about this. This stock was trading at higher levels in 2019 and 2020 than it is today. And the business is in a way better place today than it was back then. And like I said, you look at the trailing 12-month PE, the forward PE, price to sales ratio. I don't care what you want to look at. It's all trading the cheapest it ever has by a lot in PayPal's entire history as a public company. And yet this company has a phenomenal growth going in the future years. And that's just the sort of market we're in. We just want to, pushing everything down and down and down and down. Look at something like Meta. I mean, Meta's trading at 206, right? This stock was higher in 2020. The stock was at these same levels in 2019. The stock was higher in 2018. I mean, this is just a stock that's been absolutely devastated. Meta is spending a ton of money right now and is going to continue to spend a ton of money for the metaverse, and they want to win that, right? So they're spending a ton of money on that, and it does hurt short-term profitability. But let's not forget, this is still a company that has a top 10 best balance sheet in the entire world. Let's not forget this company is a cash flow and profit machine. Let's not forget this company owns 3 of the most popular platforms in the world, right? And let's not forget that this company's in the driver's seat to win metaverse. And not just in the driver's seat, but in the driver's seat by a lot to win metaverse. And so, that's just absolutely crazy. And let's not forget this company has arguably two of the best executives in the world. If you're talking about running a company to take off to the moon, they got 2 of the best, okay, in terms of Sheryl Sandberg and obviously Zuckerberg. So, yeah, bet against that one all you want and good luck doing that thing, okay? Look at Amazon. Amazon's basically in a 2-year chill out period right now. Now, I can tell you every time Amazon goes through a 2-year chill out period, that is a huge buy the chill period. We won't even call it a buy the dip period. Call it buy the chill period. Amazon goes through this cycle every once in a while where the stock just won't do anything for 18 months, 24 months. And every single time, it is a massive buying opportunity. And maybe this is a one-time, it's not, right? Maybe Amazon's business is going to tank now, right? Maybe Amazon, people aren't going to order more packages and they're not going to make more profits and AWS is going to go down and everything that Amazon's doing is going to go down. I can tell you that ain't going to happen. You got to be literally crazy cuckoo in the mind to think that. And so every single time this company goes through a couple year chill out periods, which it does, it's a huge buying opportunity. The company's trading the cheapest it's traded at on PE metrics, okay? And the reason I'm taking you through a lot of these big companies is you got to remember a lot of these big companies, these are what can end up driving the stock market. And when you see a lot of these companies trading at the cheapest metrics they've ever traded at in their company's history, you got to understand there's a lot of room for upside in that sort of market, essentially, okay? If you look at something like Alibaba, the beast out of China, this company hasn't traded this cheap since 2017. Since 2017, you got to be flipping my flapjacks here, okay? I mean, this is insane. Like literally, like outside of a delisting for Baba, like it's a holy smokers, this ain't no jokers deal. Outside of a delisting, as long as this company doesn't get delisted, think about this. If Alibaba was an American company with the same sort of growth rates and metrics as this company has and all those sorts of things, this company would be trading at trillion plus market cap. It's trading at 332 billion. I'm not an Alibaba shareholder, but I can tell you, as long as this company doesn't get delisted, it's set up to be an absolute beast. So you have a ton of these actually large caps that are trading ridiculously cheap now. And this is a big change over just a few months ago, because 6 months ago, I can tell you, there were not these sorts of deals in large caps. And that's why I started to flood money into small caps, because I looked at this market and I said to myself, well, there's no deals in large caps. There's no deal. There were literally, I couldn't find any good deals in large caps. But now the fact that so many of these stocks, and this is just a few I covered here, so many of these stocks have done nothing for the last year or two, or actually downtrended massively. We're in the situation now that I see a ton of deals, even in large caps. And that's a big shift. That's a huge shift in the market from where we were in the past, where it was like even large caps look like, ooh, they're up there, they're trading rich. And the market does this. They shoots way too far to the upside, shoots way too far to the downside. I was thinking to myself, I spent a few moments thinking last night, and I was just thinking about everybody I know, friends, acquaintances, family members, every single person I know. And I was thinking about it from a moment, and I was like, are they doing better or worse financially than they were in January 2020 before this whole Rona thing started, right? And I just thought about it. And I was thinking, do they have more money in real estate, stocks, crypto, bank accounts, everything across the board? Are they just overall in a much better situation than they were prior to this, right? Are they in a much worse situation? Are they doing a little better? Are they doing a little worse? Are they doing the same? And every single person I thought about, whether they're middle class, whether they're rich, or whether they're super rich that I know, every single one that I can possibly think of is in this category right there. Every single one I know of is doing much better than they were in January 2020, okay? And so that's just kind of some food for thought, because in these time periods when the market gets really, really volatile, you start to think, oh my gosh, does no one have any money? Is everybody broke? Is no one spending money anymore? Is everybody in a bad financial position? Like, what's going on here? And then you just start breaking it down. I'm like, literally, I can't think of one person, not even one person, that's in a worse situation today financially than they were in January 2020. And that's crazy. And like I said, every single person I was thinking about, I'm like, they're doing much better. They're doing much better. They're doing much better. Their net worth has increased 5 million. Their net worth has increased 5,000, whatever, right? And it depends on what stage you're at. And, that's some food for thought. And I think sometimes you got to spend some time and think about every single person in your life. And are those folks doing better or worse? Are they in a better position financially today, or a worse financial position today than they were in January 2020? And I can't think of one person, at least around me. Maybe I only know successful people. But yeah, that's some food for thought there, okay? Now, Google Trends, as we say, Google Trends is your friend. Auto loan. So this was something that was a scary factor for a moment there. And the reason being is essentially, interest over time. We saw this just kind of downtrending. And it was scary as we went into November, December, January. And it was like, oh crap, like what's going on here? If you see like no one wants to like search up auto loan, like maybe that means like people are scared, or they don't want to even buy cars anymore. And that came back flying up, essentially, very recently over the past month or two. So, yeah, that's good news. That was a little scary at first. I was like, oh, crap, man, what's going on here? If we look at car loan, similar term. Some people look at auto loan. Some people look at car loan. We were kind of in this vicious downtrend. And it was like, when does this downtrend end? And, we reached like a bottom there under 75. And I was like, oh, my gosh. Well, that has come back very, very strong recently. It seems like the whole Rona thing kind of scared people. And, just obviously with kind of a no stimulus out there, there's something type of vibe that hurt us in the short term. And I can tell you, that vibe is gone. It's long gone. And things are coming back flying now. If we go ahead and look at this, unemployment, we are just in a crazy downtrend for the search term unemployment, which is great news. And if you didn't know, you can get a job like literally anywhere right now, like literally anywhere. And these places are paying pretty much more than they've ever paid before. And when I went to that mall, shoot, I think every single store needed more workers. Every single place that was selling food needed more workers. So that's some more kind of good stuff there that, when people are spending, at the end of the day, never bet against the American consumers. As long as American consumers have money, they will spend that freaking money. I will tell you that much. And that money velocity just starts going around. And just wait. Money velocity is going to start ticking up. And it's going to start ticking up in a big way. As this economy really fully opens up, mask mandates are all going away. Concerts, sporting events, all that stuff, really start to come back for real now. Clubs, bars, all that stuff. Wait to see money velocity. Okay. Next one I want to look up, stocks to buy. If you wanted something else to be bullish about, well, no one cares about stocks to buy anymore. Those days are long gone. Okay. And so this is a situation where we have everything going on in the real economy is phenomenal that I see in the real world and in the metrics. And valuations are trading insanely cheap. No one cares to look up stocks to buy right now. I can tell you that much. And so we're in this situation where the market's ultra bearish, and you can see it based upon the price activity. The market's ultra bearish right now. And meanwhile, these companies, I'm seeing every single one. No, I don't say every single one of them because there's certain Peloton. Some of these companies aren't. There's no saving them. It doesn't matter how much money's in the system. It doesn't matter how much. How busy the mall is. It doesn't matter how many people are buying stuff online. Some of these places, just to be quite honest, they just have bad business models and they're just in a bad position, such as like Peloton. But 90% plus of these companies, I can tell you, they are in a great position. They're doing phenomenal, and yet no one cares to buy stocks right now. That's something to kind of be bullish about, right? Margin calls. this is interesting because I looked up this, and what you'll notice is basically every single time margin call gets around 25 or above over the past, number of years, past 5 years or so, every single time right after that peaks over 25 is essentially a time to buy stocks. Now, we had the meme stock drama. That's the one that kind of throws it off because that was a whole situation. But outside of that, every single one of these, and you can look back, every single one of these, you should have been buying stocks right after it hits over 25 when margin call. Like literally every single time. No, we'll see if this one remains true, but margin call just hit over 25 very recently here and actually went all the way up to almost 50 here recently, right? And all these were buy the dips. Every single one, buy the dip outside of the meme stock one. Every single one of these was buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Every time margin call ticks over 25. So I think that's just something interesting to kind of pay attention to in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some folks already onto this. But keep this one in mind in the future and track that one, guys. That's a fun one there, okay? And if that was not enough to convince you why I'm fully bullish on this, going to the real world, seeing what's going on in reality, going to let's call it the metric world, that was not enough, okay? This last one can put you over the edge, kind of essentially, okay? This one. Google search term. I have too much money. I've never seen it higher. Okay? Now, in all seriousness, that's just there to be funny, but it is just kind of hilarious that literally I was like, let me just type this in. This is just to be ridiculous. I have too much money into Google Trends, and it's never been higher than right now. So, nonetheless, guys, I'm super bullish. Everything I see out there is just, good. So we'll see what ends up happening, but all I can say is I think companies' earnings are going to be incredibly strong. I think there's a lot of companies that are going to end up guiding next quarter for a situation where they're like, oh, things are actually much stronger than they expected. We saw a lot of companies go very conservative in this year with no guidance or with very low guidance. And based upon what I'm seeing in the reality, I think there's a high probability a lot of these companies will end up guiding to the upside in better numbers than Wall Street expects, analysts expect, and a lot of investors expect. And I think we're going to be in for a pretty fun market. Let's just put it that way. So, and if we're not, I'll continue to buy stocks on the cheap. Either way, it's a win for me. I'll buy stocks for the cheap, or I'll be rewarded, and these companies will be rewarded the way they should be. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, let me know in the comments section what's going on with you, any moves you're making out there. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free to do so, and I appreciate you guys joining me. Also, if you want some free stocks from Moomoo, including a free TTCF share with a $100 deposit, check out pinned comment down there. Much love as always. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and have a great day.